So today I'll show you guys the one thing that you see on my Snapchat stories and my Instagram stories a lot, and that is this lean ground turkey. The way I cook it, my personal recipe, and it's just one of my favorite things now because of the way I cook it. I really like the flavor, and it works for whether you're cutting or you're bulking. The only differences are the amount of stuff that I add to it when I'm bulking, and when I'm cutting I just make sure that I'm not adding too much salt or too much of other sauce or just marinade that would just increase the total carb or fat ratio for it.
Yes, that was painful for me as well. Yeah, I'll try to get better at this. I promise. Just give me a break this time.
So right now, since I'm not cutting, I do add a couple things, which is my favorite garlic and pepper seasoning, some chili powder. I really like eating spicy food, so I do tend to add a lot of crushed red pepper and minced chili powder. And this is the secret recipe that I try not to use this when I'm making this meal while I'm cutting, but when you want to add some more flavor to it and you don't care about a few extra carbs because there's no fat in it, but if you don't care about some extra carbs and sodium, then I tend to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of this marinade sauce. And before I throw the meat in there, I tend to spray the pan with some you call it the Pam olive oil spray. Come on, focus, man, focus. Why is it not focusing? Hold up. So yeah, I tend to spray the pan with the Pam spray first.
Did I just tend to use the word 10 too many times? Let's count it out, shall we? I'm gonna put the counter right up here because I'm pretty sure I said that word about 10 times. Let's see.
And then if I was like cutting right now, I would just cook the meat in there, but I do want to add some fat to it, so I use about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And all right, let's get to it. So there's this one thing that I learned from my mom, that no matter what meat I'm cooking, whether it's beef, chicken, or ground turkey now, I do cut up some garlic and throw that in the olive oil, in the pan with some olive oil, and saute that for a bit before I throw the raw meat in there, because 1, it tends to give it more flavor, and 2, it takes that raw meaty smell away from the meat. So like, let's say when you save some of the food for later and you tend to microwave it for a second meal sometime later, it wouldn't have that weird smell to it that you tend to get with most meats. So I'm going to chop this up. I don't want to like cut it real small, but enough that it's evenly spread out throughout the pan. Alright, let's turn on the pan. Oh yeah, if you see the cardboard on the side, that's Nick and I trying to save other appliances in the corner from getting all dirty and messed up from like oil when we cook food. So it tends to work pretty well. As you can see, there's a lot of oil stains on there, but our appliances are pretty freaking clean and look new. So yeah, all right, let's get to it. So there's some Pam that I've sprayed onto the pan and put it on about medium heat. And while that's happening, I'm gonna take some of this olive oil, well, 1 tablespoon olive oil, and pour it all into the pan. Well, come on. Yeah. It's about 1 tablespoon, so that's about 14 grams of fat. But since that's like 2 pounds of, no, that's not 2 pounds. That's about, yeah, it's about 16 ounces of ground turkey. So I tend to eat like 8 ounces at one time and then save the other half for later. So if you think about it, the fat split out 7 to 7 per meal. And as I said, since I'm bulking right now, I'm not as aggressively counting my macros, so I'm eyeballing some of the stuff, but whatever. So for this recipe, no matter what I add, I tend to make sure that the fat content doesn't go up. But if the overall meal has a bit more carbs in it because of the marinade and other stuff, then that's not really a problem for me, at least right now. Just put this away. The other thing is today I'm gonna add some mushrooms to it. Now, canned ones are just easier and they're cheaper. So I'm doing this all on a budget. So that's about 1 serving of mushrooms, and that's just extra protein and carbs, but there's no fat, so it works out perfectly fine. Alright, so while the garlic is getting sauteed in the pan with some olive oil, I will throw the meat in there once the garlic starts turning light brown. You don't want to have it burning in the pan, so you make sure that it's on low to medium heat, and it's properly spread out throughout the pan. And we'll let it saute in there for a bit, and then let's get to the meat. So there's a small trick that I learned about how to cook 99% lean ground turkey. So let's put this aside. Let's cut it up. So this is my technique, how to keep it like still chunk size bites instead of breaking it down into like minced meat. So what I do is I take the spatula and I cut it into smaller pieces while it's still in here. So you'll see how it works. Just make sure that it's evenly cut out. Alright, so as you can see, I made like small pieces with the spatula, and now I'm just gonna throw this into the pan when it's ready, and you'll see how it breaks up into smaller bite-sized chunks instead of just throwing the whole thing in there as a whole. So the garlic is starting to turn all brown, so I'm gonna throw this in there. Slowly, slowly, slowly. So now you can see that while it's in the pan, it's broken up into smaller pieces, smaller chunks, and now I'm gonna just let it cook on medium to high heat for a bit before I start adding other stuff to it. So yeah, let's have this cook for a while. I think I get this from my mom. She's a really good cook, and some of the small things and tricks that I learned were just like being around her when she was cooking in the kitchen. And even now, like when I'm not sure about a couple things or when I'm trying to do something new, I'll give her a call and ask her what she thinks about it or what she thinks can make the meal better. So thank you, Mom. Giving you a shout out. You're the best. Alright, so as you can see, the meat is not pink anymore, but it still needs to cook a bit more. I'm gonna turn the heat down a bit, keep it on medium. And the other thing is, what I've learned is when you cook on on medium heat instead of really high heat, you keep more flavor, or pack more flavor within the meat instead of when you cook it on really high heat, because it tends to burn faster instead of cook to optimal levels, I guess. But yeah, try that out. If you do cook it on really high heat, then try cooking the meal on medium. I know it's going to take a bit longer, but trust me, you're going to love the results at the end. These bigger chunks, smaller pieces. I'm gonna let it cook for more before we start adding stuff to it. Let's see. Meat is turning brown now, so I think it's time to add the other spices and marinades into it. Well, there's only one marinade, but other spices into it. So far, I haven't added any salt to it. I haven't added any anything to it. It's just been olive oil, some garlic, and the meat itself. So let's get to it and take some of this chili pepper powder. And just sprinkle it over. Alright, that's good enough. I'm gonna take this. Oh, wrong side. That's better. I'm gonna add some chili flakes to it, cause I like it spicy. Alright, that's that. Some garlic seasoning. Garlic and peppers. Alright. So almost dropped this back. Put the heat on low to medium. Now I'm going to add the mushrooms to it. So I don't really add salt on its own because first, a lot of these things like the mushroom has, since it's the canned mushrooms, they have salt in them, they have sodium in them. And then the marinade that I'm going to use, the main sauce, I think it's like a teriyaki sauce, has a lot of sodium in it. So I don't need more salt for the meat. The sauce is just going to provide that on its own. Let that sit in there for a bit. And then let's take care of the sauce. Do 2 tablespoons or 1 tablespoon. Let's see how much I get. About 2 tablespoons. Alright, that's close enough. 2 tablespoons. Oh, slightly. Yeah, it's about 2. So now I'm just gonna add that to it. As you see, and I think 1 tablespoon has about 7 grams of carbs, so that's about 14 grams of carbs added to the ground turkey. Mix it all up. By the way, you can find this at Costco and it comes in 2-pack. So I cook pretty much every meat in it unless I really want to switch it up, then I'll try something else. So, but it's really good. I like it. For the amount of taste and flavor it has, for only 7 grams per serving of that sauce, that's really good, even for when you're counting macros. So, as you
see, it is properly mixed up in there. One serving of this right now will have about like 60 grams of protein or more. Well, if you were to, because the meat itself, just the 8 ounces is about 52, I think. So, and then the mushrooms have some, if you're accounting for the protein from the mushrooms, then I would say it's closer to about 55, 56 grams. So yeah, it's about 16 ounces of meat in total. So just the half of it is like one meal worth 50 grams of protein. So those are pretty good macros. And the way, if you were thinking about rough estimation, even though like I measured everything, so it's not really rough per se. Like I know, let's take the meat. Half of this is going to be about 52 grams of protein, since there are 2 servings in it. And let me turn the heat low. Turn the heat off. So there's about 55 grams of protein per serving, with about I would say about 7 to 8 grams of carbs, plus the fat from olive oil. That's about 7 grams again. So it's like 7, and 52. So 52 protein, 7 carbs, and 7 fat. That's pretty impressive. And I know that might not be exactly perfect, but you don't need them to be that freaking perfect. You're counting macros. Macros are numbers. It's just an estimation. The closer you are, the better. But as I said, I'm not cutting, so I don't care. That's pretty healthy. I'd rather eat this than eating Chipotle outside all the time. First, that's expensive. Second, I don't think that's that healthy. It's healthy for eating out, but it's not really healthy. So there you have it. Now I'll show you when I'm ready to eat. That's my first meal of the day. Since I woke up really late today, it's about 2:30 p.m. and I woke up at noon. So I'm gonna eat this before gym, which I think I'm planning on going around like 4:30 or 4 to 4:30. It's OHP day, so I need my meal. So yeah, that's about 90 grams of rice. And here we have that ground turkey that we just cooked. So half the serving of that. I'm gonna save the half for later tonight or maybe tomorrow, depends. But yeah, so to cap it off, apart from the white rice, the ground turkey has about like 55 grams of protein to about 7 to 8 grams of fat in this whole thing, plus around 10 grams of carbs if you account for the marinade sauce and the mushrooms that I added. So yeah, that's gonna be meal 1 before gym today. So I'm about to eat that.